In this video, you're going to learn how to get the Landcover merge raster layer, which is the prerequisite to do the accessibility analysis. I'm here in the data module, and I'm assuming that you've already imported the various data sets that I needed to do the tutorial. If it's not the case, you can turn to section 5.5.1 of the user manual to learn how to import this data. So I'm now going to the toolbox module here, and the second tab, Merge Landcover, which is the tool that I'm going to use. You can see that there are several steps here. We're going to start looking and adding the Landcover layer, then the roads, then the various barriers, and finally we'll merge all these data sets to get our final merge Landcover layer. So let's start with the Landcover. The two data set that I have to give to AccessMod is first the Landcover raster layer. We have only imported one such data set, so it's here. Its name is Landcover. And then the second data set that I need is the Landcover table. I have also imported one before. It's called Landcover table. I imported it now. And if you look at the table below here, this table is what is found inside the Landcover table file, which is an Excel file. It has only two columns, class, which gives you the categories in integer numbers, and a label for each of these categories. So now what we want to do is just to copy this table into the upper table, which is an editable table. So I just click on the import labels from the table below. So that's the name now are in this upper table. This upper table is can be edited. So if I just click on it, I can change the name of this label here. I can name it differently, but for the sake here, I will just keep this name here. So now I'm ready to add this Landcover layer into the stack. We will come back to that. And I just need to click on this button. Now there's a little glitch in my user interface now. This term is in French, but very likely now it's in English for you on your AccessMod version, but it should read add to stack. So I just click on that button, and now it's adding this Landcover layer to the stack. The stack, if you go to the merge tab, you can see here, we'll come back to that, but you can see here that your Landcover layer has been added. Now I go to the roads tab, and here I'm going to add my road shapefile that I've imported before. So in the drop-down menu, I can select this road layer, which is a vector shapefile layer. And then on the right table, the goal here is to tell AccessMod how many of the different road classes there are and what are their labels. So to do that, I need to give AccessMod information on which column in the attribute table of this road shapefile is concerned the road class category, integers number. So this is the column named class N, it's correct. But then I need to give it the name of the column that has the label, and this is the so-called label column. And now on the table, you see it looks good. I have three classes and I have three labels here. Now everything is ready. You can see here in the information box that AccessMod is telling you that some of the, or all of the classes of your roads are below 1000, which of course is the case, and that AccessMod will automatically convert them, and basically it will add 1000 to this number here, so that in the final layer, the classes for roads will be 1001, 1002, and 1003. It does that because we don't want to interfere with the similar category numbers that can be found in the Landcover raster layer. So we want to separate these two, and so we add 1000 to these numbers. So when it's all ready, I can then click on Add to the Stack. And what AccessMod is doing here is that is separating the different road categories into independent layers. So we can decide later to use all of them or only some of them. If I go to the Merge tab, I can see now that I have 3 additional layers here, which are my 3 road categories. Finally, I go to the Barriers tab, and here I need to add my barriers. Remember that we have imported 2 shapefile that have class barriers. We have imported rivers and wetland. So we'll have to add these 2 one after the other. So here I start with rivers. AccessMod is telling me that those are lines, which is correct, and in the table, just giving me the number of lines that I found in this shapefile. So I'm ready to add that. I click on Add to the Stack, and I will now do the same with the second shapefile, which is wetlands that we've imported before. Wetlands are polygons, and here is the number of polygons, 6 polygons in that case. So I also add them to the stack. Now I can turn to the final step of this tool, which is the merging of all this layer that you see here. So remember that really the goal here is to have one final merge Landcover that has information on the Landcover, on the roads, and on all the barriers. So all my individual pixels in the final raster should be of one of these categories. Now you can see that these 6 layers are in this stack called stack item to skip. So if I want to use them, I have to put them on the left stack, which is stack item to use. So I'm just going to drag and drop them on the left part here, just like that. Now, this stack is really like a sandwich. That means that the layers that are on top here will be over the layers that are at the bottom of the stack. So the order of these layers is important here. You don't want to be wrong in that order because you will get a different result for the Landcover merge. So typically what we want to do in such a merge Landcover is of course to have our Landcover at the bottom, because the Landcover usually cover all the surface. Then on top of it, you want to add the roads and the barriers. So the Landcover should be at the bottom, but then the roads should really typically be over the barriers, because, and that's what I'm doing here now. I'm putting all the roads on top of the barriers, because usually what you assuming is that rivers, which are complete barriers in that case, when there is a road that crosses a river, you have to assume that there is a bridge, and so the road really must cross the river so that movement can be done through that road over the river. So you want to make sure your roads are over your different barriers. Now, between the 3 categories of road, what you might also want to do is when there is a crossroad, when 2 different types of road crosses, then the pixel of the crossing area should usually be of a type that is the larger type of road. So for example, here I'm putting the main roads on top of secondary roads on top of tertiary roads. That's usually the way it goes. So this order is important. Be sure that you have it right, depending on your different assumptions and your model. And when you're ready with this, then there is just one remaining options that you can click here. And if you want more details on these options, you can turn to section 5.5.2 of the tutorial that gives you details on obtaining this merge Landcover raster. But basically what it does in a nutshell is that it will correct for some potential artifacts when a road is found very close to a river but does not cross the river. And sometimes when you rasterize this shapefile, you can have some artificial bridges that are created. So to avoid this, you choose this option, Clean Artifact, and you will make sure that this does not happen. So the last thing that you need to do is to give a name to the output raster, and we will give it the name of Landcover merge. Now, AccessMod tells me that everything is okay, everything is green, so I can launch the merging, and I click on this button. Now AccessMod is rasterizing the shapefile, is putting all these rasters on top of each other, merging everything, ensuring that everything is okay. And by the end of this process, then you will have a new layer that you can find in, you go to the data module here. In this table, you see now that I have a new raster called Landcover Merge, which is of class Landcover Merge, which is a new class. And so AccessMod does know that this layer is of this good type. And what I can do last is go to the toolbox, interactive map, and I can just visualize this new raster. I go on the raster here, and I can choose my Landcover Merge raster layer here, and this layer here displays. And if I zoom a bit on it, you can see that on top of the Landcover, you can see in white, those are actually the rivers that have no data value. And then you can see the roads here that have some kind of random colors depending on the type of road. And so this is my Landcover Merge that I can then use in the first analysis that will be for the next video.